So welcome back to the Crochet Crowd. Those are my friends over at yarnspirations.com. I got a brand new ebook for you that's available, and this is a stitch along ebook, meaning that the book is not complete until we work our way throughout the whole pattern. So this is a beautiful afghan, and it's my own design, and it's called the Floral Afghan, and my name Michael Selleck. Now as the months progress, you're gonna get more and more information to fill in this book, but the very first launch on April 15th of 2019, you're gonna get at least 21 pages of this book, and then as we progress month by month, you're gonna get more and more pages to slip in. So you can create your own binder, or you can do what I did. I just went to Staples and I had it printed off. So it's really an amazing idea, and we have more information about printing, also permissions for printers to be able to print this book. It's cheaper for you to go to do that than it is for me to print it and mail it to you. So this video today is about the ins and outs of this whole afghan, how to read this ebook, because the fact is that I have so much information in here for you that you may want to be your own designer in coming up with different color concepts. So as we go further into this book, I was really inspired by gardening. So in November of 2018 we were binge watching a whole garden show of Italy. Don Monti's garden tours, really basically, of Italy and France, and a lot of it was about the square gardens, historical gardens, fountains, and all of that. So I came up with the concept of creating the squares that were really kind of inspired. But the whole thing really started off with one particular crocheter that asked me to do this dishcloth from Yarnspirations into a granny square format, and I figured it out, and once I did it the first time, Daniel said that it was lacking texture, so he asked me to redo it a second time, and then I created the texture, and then from that I got the bug, what if I did another one and another one? So there's 7 different designs, and that became this whole concept of the Floral Afghan. Now the 7 different squares work together. So what you see here is that I decided that I was gonna go on personal vacation, which was already planned, in December of 2018, and I took one of the designs with me, and on the cruise ship for 10 days I created an entire afghan that was being made. So this is one of the squares that we have, and so each one of these squares will work together. So you can see that there's different concepts of putting different squares together just like you see. Or you can make the same squares and put them together as well to create your own afghans. So how this ebook will work is that there's a bunch of conversions. I have provided so much information that is unlike a typical designing book. I have left it for you in order for you to be your own creator using this book. So I put hundreds of hours of work into this whole design concept, because what I did is that you can see that there's a weigh scale, and every time the particular square changed its color that you see, I took a measurement of the yarn that was being used in order to figure out how much yardage or meters that was actually being used per section, and I have provided that detail to you. So what that allowed me to do is it allows me to tell you how many yards each particular color takes in every particular square that's in this, so that you can self-design and change anything you want. My hope for you, to be honest with you, is that I did mine in more of a gray, blue, white kind of tinting. I only used 3 colors. So this here allows you to be able to change the colors in strategic spots that seem to make sense. And what I did further for you when you go to flip through is that I provided you workshop worksheets, and I'm gonna describe what I did here, because this information will tell you how much yarn you're going to need for a specific number of squares. Are you confused yet? I don't know, just stick with me. It does make sense. So the particular Floral Afghan uses a total of 7 different designs, and 6 of the designs need to be done 3 times, and 1 design needs only to be done twice. You can determine which one that you want to do for yourself that's only going to be twice if you wish. The nice thing about this particular design is that I've given you so much information that if you really dislike some of the options that I have given you as far as like the design wise, if you really dislike a square, you can just subtract that square out and then just put another square in order to make it work. So if you really don't like the flower clock here, there's 3 of them as you see, just change it out. Just use another square and fill it in for the spots. If you really like one square only, which I really like the lilies and august, because I did 4 of them for this particular one, is that you can see that you can just change anything that you want to. So I want you to exercise your creativity. Do what you love and love what you do. So here's the one that I did on the cruise ship, and this was the lilies in August. So you can see by changing the colors you have something completely different. So the afghan recommendation is 4 by 5 squares. So that gives you a total of 20 squares. So what the gauge here is 14 single crochets by 13 rows, and each one of the squares is approximately 14 by 14 inches, and that is just a really kind of a neat idea. We're gonna be doing a giveaway at the end of this one. We're gonna do 5 giveaways, and if you're gonna participate in that, you have to make a minimum of a 4x5 afghan in order for it to be fair to everybody. Okay, so you see that there's 4 and then by 5, and this here is the distance of a top of a bed for a queen size. If you want drape, add another square per 3 sides. Okay, so you add 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 and 16. So adding 16 more squares will give you a perfect drape for a queen size. So what you can just do is use these 7 squares and be strategic and make even more. So that's completely up to you, but I've left you so much information because if you'd like to do that, I can tell you exactly how much yarn you're gonna need. So we're gonna use a 6mm size J crochet hook, and the final border is really quite simple. The reason for the border being simple is that because you put so much texture into this, I kept the border so that it was kind of easy, because you're gonna get sick and tired of this afghan by the end of it and you're just gonna wanna finish it. So I made the border quite simple in order for you to follow. So as mentioned, there's 7 different squares. We have the chrysanthemum, we have the flower clock, the water fountain, Queen Anne's lace, hydrangea, posy, and lilies. So these are going to be coming out randomly throughout the whole stitch along. So on the 15th of every month, starting on April 15th, we're going to start off with the chrysanthemum. I might as well tell you that first, and then I'm going to jump to something else, and as we jump, the book will get more and more complete. So the very first time you see this book, you're going to have already the chrysanthemum already part of this information. So when you go to flip through, I have the abbreviation key. This works for all of them. There's not all of the same stuff in every one, but this is the stitch key for everything, and then we start off by the instructions that you see right here. So it's gonna be a really neat idea. Now you're gonna see lots of blank space because we have a challenge for you, and let's talk a little bit about that. So when we work on things as a community, we always end up with people posting photos and posting their issues, some success stories, some negative stories, and all of that. So what our goal for you in the end is that we have a challenge for you. We would like you to share your stories. So what we're going to do is that as you complete each month, what I'd like you to do is just send us a few photos, maybe yourself even crocheting, or maybe just what your ideas are, and think about when you tell us your story, think about the obstacles that you face and how you overcame them. So it's advice. And what did you enjoy about the square? What colors were your inspiration? And tell us about your strategies if you have any. So by sending us this information, I've left you my email address so that you can email it. We're gonna collect them, and as the book gets bigger, we're gonna be filling in spaces of this book. So where you see empty spaces is that we're going to be adding random people into the book in order to finish it off. So by November 2015, random people, maybe you, it'll be completely random when we choose, will be inside this book as the final. So make sure if you're gonna participate in that you're okay with your photographs being posted here inside this book. So within each pattern here, you're going to notice that I use 3 colors, white, ocean, and soft gray mix. These are available through yarnspirations.com if you're looking for the coloring, and also for this particular size afghan, you need 2 balls of each in order to do the exact one that you see on the back of this. So when I flip it back to the back, I should put a bookmark by now. When you see the exact one complete with border, it is 2 balls each of the colors in order to do this whole one. So it's not a really expensive project. I decided to keep it in the sense of only keeping it 3 colors, but I changed colors where I thought it would make sense. So if, for example, you want to add a 4th color or 5th or 6th, or you want to make it scrappy looking, you can do that by just using the color changes. So where I suggest to change colors in this matches where I'm suggesting it here. So what I want you to do is think about the coloring that you would like to do and use your own creativity and really throw things at it. There's also something very consistent about these whole squares. They all work together, and there's something very similar about it. So when you're looking at all the squares, you're going to notice that every one of them is a circle mandala shape at some point. So right in the very beginning, and then it converts over to a square. You should know that every one of these conversions that you see, no matter the design, I kept it consistent that it's always the same stitch work. So there's always gonna be 3 rows or 3 rounds that are always gonna match each other. So once we get to a certain diameter, we use that transition to go. So in here I did something that's kind of unusual, is that I said tip, here's where we're going to start converting it now. Conversion to square begins in the next round. So then in this particular one, you can see it as the white. It starts going into a square formation here. So I wanted to be very consistent with the whole idea so that not every one of these was completely a stranger to you when you were crocheting. Upon the launch, you're going to get the worksheets for every one of the squares up front so that you can decide all of your colors and you can change things where you would like it to change. So this here took me 8 hours just to make the actual worksheets that you have, but as I was designing I was weighing out all the yarn and figuring out all the yardage. So what I am here is that I'm Canadian. I use metric, so I use the grams and meters, but knowing that most of our audience is actually American, I actually had to do a conversion for your convenience of converting it to ounces and yards. So what I decided to do is that I took all my dimensions actually in grams, not that it matters, and the worksheet did the formulation to figure out all of the information in order to do it. So some of my assumptions that I have showed you what my transparency is on my mathematics, and all of these worksheets in order work out. So rounds 1 through 7 used a soft gray mix. Rounds 8 was ocean, 9, 10 to 10 was white, 12 was ocean, and 13 was white. So I have given you the amount of information and I showed you how many grams were gone, and then this worksheet calculated the ounces. It also calculated the meters and the yards all automatically for me. So what this did is that it gives me a final counts that you see. So for this particular square I needed 36 grams of white, 44 grams of ocean, and 41 grams of soft gray mix, and I figured it all out to give me a percentage of what it takes for the ball. So one square of white takes 8% of a ball, and then the ocean and the soft gray mix was 10% and 10%. So this allows me to have a calculation to figure out how many how much yarn that you're going to need if you would like to make different counts. So let's go through this section here. This is the most fascinating part of it all, at least to me. So my worksheet took this information of knowing that it was 8%, 10 and 10, and I figured out, so if you did one square you would need 8, 10 and 10. So if you did two squares it's 16% of a ball, and 20 and 20, and 3 squares is 24%, 30 and 30. So I can tell you that I just look at the information and say how much yarn is really gonna be taken. So if I wanted to do 3 of these squares and using white, it would need about 24%, so 25%. So it takes about 25% of a ball, right? A quarter of a ball. So this allows me to take this information and to look at other things. So if I wanted to do 3 squares of the lilies in August, so this one here, I have figured it out just like the others. So the white took 9%, the ocean took 10, and the soft gray mix took 13%. And so if I wanted to do 3 squares of the lilies, it's 27% of this color, 30% and 39%. So when I look at this and I'm converting it, so if I look at the white it was 24%, and then I look at the white here it's 27%. So it's approximately just over half a ball of yarn. So I have figured it out that if it goes over, so 135% is 1 ball and 35% of another, and etc. So if it's 200% it's 2 balls, and I put that information here for you. So what this is doing is it's allowing you just to flip through and determine what you would like to do. So let me just back out the camera and just show you that square. So you can just choose your different squares and decide what is gonna work for you, and just by adding up all the percentages here you're going to know exactly how much yarn to use. Now if you decide that you would like to change your colors in order to, instead of 3 or 4, and you can make 4, 5 or 6, whatever you would like to do, you can just take this information here. Now this worksheet will not calculate the differences that you're going to do, but this here gives you an indication of what you're going to need in order to do each round. So I figured it out here on how many grams and yards that each section took inside one of these squares, so that you can get a bird's eye view on what you're doing. So hopefully that's of help to you. Upon the launch I've also given you the final border. This is for people that really don't want to do all the squares. If they just wanted to choose one, they could actually just use the final border to do it. So this is a really neat idea, and it tells you that there was only one border, and it tells you the percentage of the white, ocean and soft gray mix in order for you to figure that out. So that was kind of an easy way to go. I also left you the instructions already. Now for the border instructions, if you would like to complete that, there's a bean stitch that's involved. So this is the description on how to do the bean stitch, and that's something that you can do, and the border will be done at the end of this particular video series. And then finally at the end you have your layouts just like you see. So what I would like to do is that I would like just to cover the guidelines. So the guidelines for this, you can use any yarn you wish. I have left you the gauge. but I'm recommending 6mm size J crochet hook in order for you to play. You can change out your yarn. You can use as many colors or as lack of colors that you wish in order to play. In order to stay equal to everybody, I'm asking that all members use the same 4x5 squares in order to be equal to each other, so that you're equally doing the same amount of work in order to qualify for the prizing. So that's just something that you can do if you would like to participate in that, but at any time you can just switch things out. So say for example that you really don't, and I think I already talked about this, but if you really don't like a square, just take out that square and just crochet something else that's already in this pattern and just replace it. So I'm looking for 4x5. It can be completely the same design, or it can be just a couple of these squares just mixed around, or it can be the whole thing. We will not start taking submissions until October 15th, when we finally do the last one, so that it's equal for everybody. So if you get one done earlier, just save it, and then when we come to this giveaway idea, you can submit it at that time. Finally, let's talk about the distribution of this book. And finally, this book is completely free. You can download it, you can print it, you can take it to a print shop. I've left you permissions for your printer to be able to print this off if they wish. Now this is called Surlocks, just like you see here. This here was by Staples, and what happens is that when I get more pages, I can go back to Staples, print out those, and they can open this and put this in. If you'd like to create your own binder, just obviously you can do that at home, and it just kind of makes a lot of sense. Now I live here in Nova Scotia, Canada. It is completely redundant for me to be able to print these and mail it to you. The cost of mailing and the printing is obscene. You're better off just to go to the local print shop and have it printed if you do not have a printer, or just ask a friend. You will be chewing away at some of your ink because we are going to be a little bit heavy on some of the graphics so that people can be successful. There's gonna be no crochet diagrams provided in this because there's gonna be tutorials in order to match. So I know that was a lot of information all up front, but my goal is that when we start our very first one, we're gonna jump right into it, and we're gonna use this video as the standard in order to play along. So this is the Flora Afghan. I hope that you've enjoyed my design, and until next time, have a good one. We'll see you again real soon. Bye bye.